Canadian as I could find.
As Canadian as you can find.
As Canadian as I can find. I walked into the liquor store and said, "Hey, I need something that's like ridiculously Canadian."
So Wayne Gretzky maple syrup whiskey.
Nope.
Okay. Was I close?
Nope.
Crown Royal.
Nope. I grabbed a bottle of Crown, and that is not what I picked. What is when I say Canadian? Ridiculously Canadian.
Molson Canadian.
Nope. Come on.
Really? Okay.
Nope.
Okay. Uniquely Canadian.
Uniquely Canadian
whiskey.
Wouldn't that be
something?
Imagine?
Can you imagine? I mean,
somebody would drink it.
Vodka and gravy.
Ugh.
I guess.
I mean, really, vodka is just potato juice at the end of the day.
Yeah, exactly. Okay,
No.
what did you get? What is it then?
It is
40 Creek butter tart. Did the box look like a Chesterfield too, or what?
You know what? Hey, Zuba Bernice is here. Happy Canada weekend, eh? Canada Day weekend, eh? That's right.
It's a weird Canada Day weekend because it's like it isn't because Monday isn't Canada Day.
No, and here's the thing. I Canada Day, the kids love it. There's fireworks. We don't do it like they do it. Our southern friends. I mean, they put off ordinances like crazy in the States.
They end wars with their fireworks.
They could probably start them with their fireworks, to be honest with you.
Yeah, exactly. Start and finish them within the next 5 minutes.
Tell you what, you've been to Disney, right?
Yeah, a long time ago. Yeah.
Right.
That's fantastic, right?
That's fireworks. And turns out that next to the Disney is second only to the U.S. military for setting off ordnance.
Really? How much does Disney World spend on fireworks daily?
I'm guessing $200,000.
Let's see what Chat GPT says here. Oh, it only says 40 to 50,000 per night.
That's still a lot of Roman candles.
That's still a lot of, So it says on average, Disney World visitor contributes 98 cents of their ticket towards the nightly fireworks. So think about that for a minute. There's 98 cents. There's 40,000 tickets every night.
Even slightly more because it's not quite $1. So
right, like that's incredible.
That's a lot of people.
That's a lot of people.
And you know what I was blown away by with Disney is not a lot of puke. Considering the rides,
they're clean. They're clean. Yeah, and you know what? If they're spending $1.5 million a month, you guarantee they're getting a bulk order. They're probably getting some Canadian Tire points on that one.
Could you imagine if they got Canadian Tire points and stuff for air miles?
Jeez, that's why we don't get air miles privileges anymore because Disney World spends it all.
Probably, but I mean, the amount of fireworks that they put off, and that's where I love the fact that we have celebrations and we have fireworks, and we have all these things. The kids love them. And why is it that even as an adult, if there's fireworks, you're going to look up?
Of course.
And much like if there's a helicopter, even a grown-ass man will be like, hey, look. It's a helicopter.
Yeah, it's a male helicopter.
Oh, what?
I don't know. It's because it's Canada Day coming up. Right. You still there?
Yeah, I'm here. What's going on?
Yep. I'm here.
Jay?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Why we're having
tech issues.
Maybe my host is used to kids using all their devices all the time while I'm trying to do live stream, and they're all at the camper, so I've got a clear go.
Yeah, it doesn't. It's confused. This is my Canadian drink here.
What is that?
Steam Whistle beer. Okay.
Really? Where's that made?
It's a Toronto beer. So I did a tour of it years ago. Okay. And before that point in time, I hated Steam Whistle. I thought it was a terrible beer, honestly. Tried it once or twice. I was like, don't like it. Don't like it at all. It is not. It is a Pilsner. And this is the Pilsner that got me drinking Pilsners. Okay.
Do you ever just buy Pilsner?
It's not the same.
But Pilsner is Pilsner. It's Saskatchewan beer.
Yeah, I know it's not the same. No, Pilsner's German. So this one, this was from a company that was called, what was it? Upper, I can't remember what it was called. It was a company that was going big in the microbrewery phase in Toronto, and they got so big that they went and did a public offering. They went IPO, went public. Okay.
Really?
And they're like, oh my God, this is huge. It's going to be huge, right? And the day of the opening, they got bought out by one of the other big corporations, like Sleeman's or something. And then the
Right.
guys who started it got ousted of the company.
Really?
Yeah, it's
Oh,
serious, right? So
dick-
on it,
dick move.
on every can and every bottle, I guess that, but they got their buyout and everything, and they went on a camping trip with their wives and everything like that. And they were in the middle of a lake or something, drinking and drunk, and they're like, "Dude, we should start a beer company," right? So
Well,
they decided to do it, to open up another one, and what was it, what was it called? I'm trying to figure. Yeah, it was they're sitting around drinking or whatever, and they decided they were going to call the new beer company Three Fired Guys.
makes sense.
Okay,
Really, it's
makes
pretty on the
sense.
button rather.
And they decided no, that wasn't appropriate, so they call it steam whistle because at the end of the shift that there's a whistle that blows, and everyone in the brewery goes and gets a free beer. They have a beer at the end of the shift, so it builds a big community and camaraderie and everything. Okay,
Excellent. Right before you hop in your truck and drive home.
exactly. But on the can, on every can and bottle somewhere, they have the letters, or they have 3FG on it.
Three Fired Guys.
Fired Guys. Yeah,
I love how you know stories like this, but much like myself, I can't remember birthdays. Zuber Bernice asks, "Is my butter tart liqueur is clear?" No, actually, this was water, and I wanted to crack this in front of everybody because I'm curious as well. So this is a 40 Creek. Again, if you weren't at the beginning, I was looking for the most ridiculously Canadian thing, and it's 40 Creek butter tart liqueur. And let's give this a go. I'm gonna guess it's gonna be pretty sweet.
Man, it tastes like insulin just thinking about it.
Well, let's just see.
Which is interestingly Canadian too, right?
You are right. That tastes like a damn butter tart.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It doesn't get stuck in the roof of your mouth though, eh?
No, but I mean, I feel like I'm drinking diabetes right now.
Nice. Yeah.
Because I don't.
Who doesn't love a good taste?
Nothing like spiking my insulin late at night.
Damn straight. Like what better way to get your day going, right? Or ending.
This is okay. This is weird that this tastes exactly like a butter tart.
That's perfect.
Not quite as crusty, but
success.
But here's the thing: I will not drink this. Like I bought it just to have a drink on the show and have something ridiculously Canadian. This will become Kelsey's new creamer for her coffee at the camper.
First thing in the morning, eh?
Mm-hmm.
Good call. Good call.
Got to get them started right.
So, do you have any uniquely Canadian stories?
Well,
I mean, they're all Canadian stories, but so
they're all Canadian stories.
That's so Canadian, right? Close the door.
I think our slang is something is just different than anybody else.
Yep.
Like going for a rip is definitely just driving around.
Yep.
Our booze though.
Gonna get a 2-4.
Get a 2-4, but okay, let's start. You got a Mickey.
Yep.
You got a 2-6. You got a 40 pounder.
You got a 40. You got a 60, and a Texas.
In Texas, we call the 60 a handle.
Well, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, let's go grab a handle.
Because got the pump, got a handle, and you got a pump with it, right?
Nope, that's the Texas Mickey. But the 66 it has a handle. Like you're not going to grab that thing like that. It's got a bit of a handle to it.
Yeah.
But they used to have a handle, and we had some pretty bad liquors
bad nights
too back in the day.
Yeah, there were some pretty bad ones. Taylor,
Canadian
close the door for me.
I remember there was
that's gross.
I bought a bottle of Canadian Club, and I'll tell a story about when I went to New York. And do you remember Sirius XM? Remember Maxim Radio with Cavino and Rich?
Yep.
They had an open invite. They said, "Hey, if you're ever in New York, come on up and visit us." So I brought a bottle of Canadian Club with me to New York. Yep. And when we got to New York, I was wandering around and I called the studio, said, "Hey, I'm quitting. I'm from Canada. I want to come up and hang out with Cavino and Rich." So I did I did like 2.5 hours on Sirius XM on Maxim Radio, and we got hammered on this bottle of Canadian Club that I brought in, and they sent Spot, like their intern, to go get mixed for us.
That's perfect. That's great.
Yeah, I mean, our beer is definitely stronger than American beer. There's no doubt. Our whiskey's the same, but we don't have bourbon here, so there's that.
Correct. You know, I prefer a good bourbon, but I've gotten kind of used to drinking Canadian whiskey.
There's nothing wrong with it. I mean, Canadians, we have some things that they don't have, and you can go through the ketchup chips and the cheesies and
The
all
Kit
those
Kats,
things. But
the Krispy Kremes, or not Krispy Kreme, Crispy Crunch. Sorry,
is Kit Kat just a Canadian thing?
I think so. Yeah. Beaver Tails. Okay.
Beaver Tails for sure.
Yeah. All dressed chips. This is great. The question I asked ChatGPT what are some uniquely Canadian things, right? And it says for food and drinks, all dressed chips, the chaotic good of chip flavors.
It is, and I'm trying to figure. I always the big mystery to me was, are all dressed? Is it everything or is it not everything?
I don't know what all dressed means.
I thought it meant every flavor at the factory went into it.
The leftovers. But I mean, just by calling it all dressed, you also realize there has to be a half dressed and an all new chips then too, right?
Well, naked be I would say naked be lightly salted ripple chips. It's got some curves.
That's fair. That's fair.
And it's not exactly like if you're eating a lightly salted chip, why are you eating chips? Like you used to be mildly dehydrated and have a headache at the end.
That's the thing. You're just crunching stuff. You might as well just go get some celery and put some flavor on top of that, right?
To me, celery is, if you're craving crunchy water that has hair in it, that's celery.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. What else is Caesar's?
Caesar's definitely a Canadian thing, and this is what I'm trying to figure out. Why on earth does someone think of taking clam juice and tomato juice? How did that combination happen?
There's a special place in hell for the person who decided to make that a drink, I tell you.
But I like a Caesar. I have seen. Oh, come on! I have seen I have seen what you people eat and drink.
Yeah. What do you mean, you people?
Well, I'm just saying. I've seen some live stuff getting eaten by people that share like a slight resemblance.
Bat soup and all that sort of stuff, right? You know, that was the whole thing 5 years ago, right? So
I don't think Canadians have anything that's really terrible. Like, do we have a food that's just god awful? Like, KD is us.
Well, you can look at, depends what you mean by awful. So if you want something that causes progressive damage to an entire society, okay?
Poutine?
I would, poutine, yeah. It's wonderful though. Nanaimo bars. Like, they're wonderful. But those things will rot your teeth out in 2 bites.
For sure. Oh, Caesar started in Calgary. Zoombirdy says Caesar started in Calgary.
Crazy.
But the clam juice.
That's gross.
But did it have a purpose before the Caesar was invented? What came first, the Caesar or the clam?
Well, the Bloody Mary was just tomato, wasn't it?
Yeah. And a Bloody Mary was just vodka and tomato juice, I think, down the States. There was a red eye. Do you ever drink a red eye?
No. Wait, that's where you put egg. That's where you put an egg into it too. Into the clam.
Yeah, you got a beer. I think it's beer and clam with a with a red eye.
That was from a Cocktail. Tom Cruise.
Really?
Yeah, that's what they were drinking in that show.
Yeah, it's a hangover cure, apparently.
Yeah, apparently. I mean, the hair of the dog. So, hey, Alyssa says bring back lemon steam whistle.
That's the thing?
I'm okay with that. Yeah, I'm okay with that. Yeah.
And apparently coleslaw, is that horribly Canadian?
What?
Really? Maybe. Like, I don't know if coleslaw is Canadian. It might be. It seems like something that Americans, they put on their pulled pork sandwiches.
Yeah, it kind of is, but to be fair, you can put almost anything on pulled pork sandwiches.
Gitch is a Canadian slang for underwear.
Yep, I believe that one. Same thing with Chesterfield.
Chesterfield, gitch, gotch, gaunch. I've never heard gaunch.
Gaunch. Bunny hugs.
That's a Saskatchewan thing, isn't it?
They're still Canadians, though.
My mom used to call them a kangaroo sweater.
I thought those were shoes. Remember there were Ruse shoes?
There were Ruse shoes.
Those aren't Canadian.
I don't think we have a Canadian shoe. I don't know if there's any Canadian footwear. I think all of our stuff is made in China.
I think so. A keener. Someone who's overly eager or enthusiastic is a Canadian slang word.
You know what? I think one of the best shows that really brought in what Canada is. Okay, what
Great
show do
White
you
North.
think? No,
Bob and
yeah,
Doug
yeah,
McKenzie. Bob and Doug McKenzie.
right. But if you're gonna kangaroos, you're right. See, Zuma says that makes sense with a pouch pocket. Letterkenny.
Yes, Letterkenny.
Letterkenny 100%
And
is.
especially, it's not even Kenny. That's very specific prairies, though.
It was like growing up in Dauphin. That was
Yeah,
it.
that's as prairies as corner gas.
Yeah, but I could watch a lot more Letterkenny than I could watch Corner Gas.
It's a much better. It's a different humor. Corner gas was good, but it was a dry kind of humor, like
We had some
Seinfeld
bad
humor.
shows. Like when we were kids, we had 3 channels on a cloudy day, right? And I remember, Beachcombers, Danger Bay. Somehow Danger Bay.
Danger Bay, yeah.
Danger Bay was a show. And weren't they, I think they were marine biologists. They worked at the aquarium.
Something like that, yeah.
And somehow there'd be crime and somehow they
Yeah.
get involved.
How about what was it? There was a Canadian TV show. What was it? It was
Littlest Hobo?
God. Well, there was that one. Yeah, there was definitely that one. There's a classic Canadian. There was one I'm looking for. A classic
What was it about?
80s
See if you can
Canadian.
stump me.
There was. I'm. Fuck. What was it? I don't know. I can't remember if it was or not. It was. I'm googling it. See if I can find it. You can't do that on television. Amazing. Yes, Edison Twins. The Edison Twins. That's what I was thinking of.
We had such low budget crap, and it's that Canadian melodrama that we had, like Degrassi.
Yeah,
Degrassi was the first show that. I'll go on a little tirade with junior high. I think the kids are missing out on junior high.
Yeah,
You had junior high, didn't you?
Yep. Did.
Right.
Now they kind of just get thrown right into high school.
So you're in there with the kindergartens, then you're into high school kids, and junior high was that time in your life when you had to grow up to get ready to run with the big dogs.
Absolutely. And now it's a little bit scary. Like my daughter's going into grade 8, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that like she's 13, and in another year and a bit, she's going to be basically hanging out with 18-year-olds. It's like, what the hell?
I'll tell you what, that transition was great because junior high, you're still kind of a kid, but you're starting to, what is Canadian culture these days? Seems like our culture recently is we aren't America. Listen, there's a lot of parallels between Canadians and Americans. We're not that different. Okay. Like if you go to North Dakota, it's just more Manitoba.
Yeah, mostly. Okay, but not really. So I remember years ago, Angela and I went down to North Dakota. And this must have been, this was like 15 years ago. It was a long time ago now. And while we were down there, she's buying something at one of the stores in the mall there. And the cashier sees the money in her wallet.
Right.
And she goes, "Oh, you're Canadian, eh?" And we're like, yeah, I guess so. She goes, "Oh, that's so cool. Like, what's the weather like up there?" And I was like, the same.
Well,
I mean, it's closer. We're closer to you than you are to Bismarck.
Right. But there are people from the States. Like I know my parents lived in Texas in the winter. My mom stays there now. The dad's dead. But they had some friends come up from the States, from Texas.
Yeah.
Up to visit. Now they pulled up here and they were blown away. They couldn't believe that we had lakes and forests. And they thought it was just barren. And these people were in their 60s. They had no idea.
God, that's incredible.
Well, the thing is, okay, what do you think Texas is like? I would guess dusty, and everybody's got 2 guns on them.
Yeah, well, okay, that's fair. I mean, also, Texas is freaking massive, so it's very diverse. Okay, so you are going to get that. You will get that too, right?
Well, I think because the States is heavily populated, you have different cultures that happen within these areas. Like
and everything.
New Orleans is different, Texas is different, Boston's different. Where Canada, we've got a strip. We all live within 100 miles of the border.
Yeah.
So there's not a lot of difference between any of us.
If you think about it, the majority of people don't really go further north than the Trans-Canada.
No.
Right?
No.
That's a little scary.
We have a lot of empty space, but I mean, you also have, like, could you tell if somebody's from Calgary?
Well, sometimes you can.
Without seeing a license plate, could you tell if
somebody's the cowboy hat, like...
Right. So they're the Texas of Canada. See, there you go.
Yeah.
So we have our stereotypes,
Yeah.
and we have stereotypes here. I mean, I think that we have I think the best description I've heard about Canadians was someone asked this guy to describe Canadians, and he goes, "We're polite but tough."
Yeah. Okay.
And I think that that's true.
Here, give
Like-
me an example of each Canadian province
Stereotype?
and American counterpart.
Okay, let's see if we can play the game. I'm
Okay.
going to guess that. Hey, Pebbles. Okay, if I was to, let's see if I'm right or wrong.
Start
Alberta's
with British
Texas.
Columbia. Yeah, start with British Columbia.
BC would be, I would say like Seattle. Like it's the same.
Close, yeah. It's
BC would be
California, but
BC.
Yeah.
I was going to say BC is our California.
Yeah, West Coast.
Alberta's our Texas. Saskatchewan would be our Manitoba would be like Indiana.
No.
No?
Think about it. Think about it. Really hard.
I believe
The most Manitoba
believe-
place I've ever been in was Minnesota.
Idaho
Minnesota.
Minnesota would be the equivalent.
Manitoba. Yeah. It's very similar.
That makes sense.
And even in
Man.
Minneapolis, they've got like a little Canada in the community, right?
I gotta ask, why does your can somebody tell me if Jay's camera looks okay? Because he's choppy on my end, but he might look clear to you guys.
Saskatchewan, which states then? While we're waiting for an answer.
Saskatchewan would be
New Jersey. Yeah.
Jersey. Yeah, you're blurry.
Okay. Really?
Weird.
I look fine to me here. I'm afraid to do anything. I'm running just right off of I'm going to flip over to Wi-Fi and see what happens here.
Do the Wi-Fi. What are you doing with your phone? That's silliness.
Because it wasn't connecting at all.
Oh, now you look better. Look at that.
Better?
Look at that.
Okay.
I can. Let's just
beautiful.
open your eyes.
I'm beautiful now. So here we go.
Better, but you're
Saskatchewan
still
is
blurring out.
Kansas.
Yeah, that would make sense. I can see a tornado ripping through that and destroying
Flat,
everything.
rural, endless skies. Everyone knows your business and your dog's name, it says.
That's true. I mean,
Yeah.
when you look at the okay, what would Quebec be then?
Quebec, it says Louisiana, French roots, strong cultural identity, food obsession, and a streak of wanting independence.
Okay, Ontario's got to be New York or Manhattan. Yeah,
New
state
York, yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting, Manitoba says Minnesota because cold winters, nice culture, lakes, nice culture, and lakes everywhere, and a suspicious number of people named Doug.
We have a lot of Dougs here.
I guess so.
That makes sense. It's a fairly.
It's
How many
crazy.
Dougs do you know? I know. Hang on, everybody. How many Dougs do you know? I know
like one, two.
I know 4 Dougs
3,
for sure.
4, 5 Dougs.
You know 5. You have one more Doug than I do.
Yeah, I know a lot of
That-
Dougs.
this reminds me
There's
of-
a Doug. There's a
Zoom in
Doug
those 2 Dougs.
or any tag a Doug in this feed.
Tag a
Tag
Doug.
Doug.
We need to know.
Yeah.
We need as many Dougs as we can get in here.
Yeah.
This Kids in the Hall. There's a very Canadian thing, and it was the
Yes.
these are the Daves I know.
Yeah, there you go. That crush your head, right? Crush your head.
Crush your head. I guess from the East Coast we say things differently. You guys do have a little more of a dialect that we don't share.
Yep, definitely.
Hey there, everybody.
Depending. Definitely. Newfoundland, yes, absolutely. Nova Scotia, not so much. New Brunswick, hey, it's pretty big, yeah.
Well, Newfoundland, I had a client and super nice guy, talked a mile a minute, and he used a lot of his slang. And unless you really paid attention, it all went right by you.
Yeah.
But luckily, I grew up and my father was an auctioneer for a while, and I could understand whatever this guy was saying. It was good. You know what? I'm gonna tell you what.
Auctioneers, great. That's
This
great.
liquid butter tart. Pebbles, you missed the unbottling. I don't know if you're here for this. I went to the liquor store and tried to get the most ridiculously Canadian thing I could for the show today. And it's okay. This is for Pebbles because she started late. Butter tart liqueur. And it tastes like something my grandmother baked and that my grandfather would have distilled.
Probably your grandma would have made alcohol out of butter tarts.
No, my grandmother would have made butter tarts, and my grandfather would have made homebrew out
Okay,
of
gotcha.
said mash.
Nice.
And I think that's I think that's the thing too, that you get that in prairie provinces. Your camera.
Yep. I have no idea. I keep
your
losing
camera's a little
connection here. So,
and you're rocking it. Oh, you're at the Velvet Dip. I wonder if they have a butter tart sundae. That would take off here for sure.
Probably.
Okay, so back to Canadian things. Our stereotypes are what? We're polite.
Yep, definitely.
Apparently, everybody plays hockey.
Yep.
I've never played hockey.
Everyone apologizes.
Sorry about that.
Yep.
And
we say a lot, of course. I mean, those are just basic, classic ones, right?
I'm glitching now. This must be a server issue because I seem to be clear on my end.
Like, I see you perfectly fine.
And I see you as blurry, but I'm seeing everything on my end being great.
That's weird.
It is weird. We're going to get through this. Where to go with this? I lost my train of thought. Must be the butter tart liqueur. No, we have stereotypes in Canada. We're overly apologetic. Apparently, we can drink an immense amount. And everybody plays hockey. This is a game that I've never played. Now you're clear again. Curling, I think, is a thing that I've never gotten into. Like, it's a game. It's a sport, I suppose. But people that are curling fans are hardcore curling fans.
Hardcore. Yeah, they're hardcore. And, I mean, I think curling's more fun if you do it full contact.
The yelling. But here's the thing. I remember having to go watch my grandparents curl when I was a kid.
Yeah, hurry hard.
And there's a little bench in the middle, and everybody had their whiskey sitting there, and they had ashtrays in the middle of the ice. And my grandfather would have a cigarette hanging out of his mouth while he was curling, like throwing the rock.
You know, that's some cardio right there. Could you imagine trying to do a stair climber while smoking a cigarette?
There probably would have been a time. Like, I wonder if there was a smoking, non-smoking gym. Did you ever smoke?
Me? On occasion, but nothing serious. I tend to smoke. I used to smoke British cigarettes when we were Guinnessing up over the decker once in a while.
What do they call those in the UK?
What do they call them in the UK? Darts.
No, I think there's something else. Three-letter word.
Something else? Sure. Yeah, 3 words. I can't remember what that one was.
I forget.
Yeah,
I think we both know it. We don't want to say it because nobody wants to get canceled today.
Yeah, no, we're not getting cancel culture. Not in June. That's for sure.
Maple syrup obsession. We produce over 70% of the world's supply. Do you remember when there was a maple syrup heist?
What?
Because there's a reserve. We have a maple syrup reserve in Canada.
Of course we do. Yeah, of course we do.
Right. And somebody robbed it.
Wow, really?
Like, tankers of this stuff. Okay,
the sticky thieves, eh?
Why do I love my...
So last year I was in Montreal, and it was interesting. We're walking through some heritage buildings, and it has to be a Canadian thing. The incessant need, the deep driving need to, when you have a heritage building, to start filling it up with fudge and maple syrup.
You really should.
Because they sure do. Like, it was like there was this great church and everything we're walking through, and it turned into a mall, and it's like, oh, look, we can buy, like maple syrup here, or we can buy fudge here.
That's what happens. But I got to read this. This is the Great Canadian Maple Syrup Heist. In 2011 and 2012, between those two, thieves stole nearly 3,000 tons of maple syrup.
Holy, how do you just walk off with that, eh?
What do you think that was worth?
Oh, I don't know. Millions.
Take a guess. Give me a number.
5 million.
$18.7 million.
Holy.
From a warehouse in Saint Louis de Planford, Quebec. It was part of a strategic maple syrup reserve managed by the Quebec maple syrup producers, which controls a huge portion of the world's maple syrup supply. How they pulled it off? The syrup was stored in unmarked barrels with minimal security. They siphoned the syrup from the barrels and replaced it with water. Some were left dry. And then it was trafficked across New Brunswick, Ontario, and even in the US and sold to unsuspecting distributors. The fallout, the theft was discovered during routine inventory, and the inspector nearly fell off a stack of suspiciously light barrels. 17 people were arrested, several were convicted. The ringleader, Richard Valérez, was sentenced to 8 years in prison and fined $9.4 million, upheld by the Supreme Court of Canada.
That's the type of justice we need.
That's right. But
right?
The heist inspired, if anybody wants to watch something that has something to do with this, inspired a Netflix documentary episode in Dirty Money.
Of course it did.
And a dark comedy series called The Sticky on Amazon Prime in 2024.
That's great. Of course,
that's
the
most
TV
Canadian.
show out of it.
That is the most Canadian crime.
Yeah,
I think I've ever heard of. Like stealing that much maple syrup. Like, how do you move that? I mean, there's a market for it, but you'd have to go to a flea market.
Who comes up with that? You know, okay. So I asked, what's the most Canadian crime ever? And the Great Maple Syrup Heist of 2011 to 2012.
Absolutely. Like.
Only in Canada. I don't know what to say to that. You know,
like if it was this. What do you think the most American crime would be? Okay, so if we have a very
World
Canadian
War II
crime, did they get involved with that?
There's definitely some war crimes going on there.
Let's talk about heists.
Okay, let's go back here.
Okay,
I googled this one. Okay, what do you think some of the most honorable mentions are for the most Canadian crimes ever?
Oh geez, oh boy. That's not very Canadian.
Yeah, there's 4 of them. They gave me 4 of them, okay?
Wasn't there a butter thief?
This one was the moose theft. Someone stole a stuffed moose head from a Nova Scotia bar, and it was returned with a note, "Sorry, we were drunk."
That's very Canadian. That's about as Canadian as you're going to get it.
There was a Tim Hortons break-in where the thief only stole Timbits and coffee.
Aren't they 24 hours?
I know,
how do you break into a Tim's?
I don't know. They really quietly. The Skidoo getaway. Criminals fled police via snowmobile through frozen river system in Saskatchewan.
He was caught after getting stuck near a fishing shack.
That makes. Ice fishing is definitely a very. Okay.
Here's one more. Goose smuggling. They smuggled Canada goose eggs for breeding. Not the drugs, the geese.
What?
Yes. That's great.
I mean, here's the
thing. We know how to commit crime.
We know how to commit crime, but let's go to maple syrup for one. That's expensive. Okay, so it makes sense. There's a market for it. What the hell are you gonna do with goose eggs?
Breeding. It's for breeding. Yeah, but I don't know why. Why do you want them?
Those flying cobra chickens. Have you ever been near one?
Can you imagine if you weaponize those things? There you go.
They're weapons.
And then you were. Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. We have, I hunt, and I've gone goose hunting. Here's the thing with the goose. If you shoot it, you best make sure it's dead when you walk up to it, because that son of a bitch will chase you and hiss at you. And
they're teeth too, right?
Kind of. Yeah. They'll bite you. Actually, a wild turkey will get you too. Like
really?
The wild turkey. Oh, their heel spurs, it'll slice your Achilles tendon clean.
Crazy. That's
unreal. And those kick at you. We have some dangerous animals.
Well, yeah, there are a few. I mean, local geese that live around the West End. They walk around.
Yeah, and there's goose shit everywhere. That stuff's terrible. It's the worst. The worst bird poop is a goose poop.
Absolutely, it's worse than like a dog any day.
Mm-hmm. Because it's greasy, and it doesn't really dry out. Nope. Yeah, apparently we're all lumberjacks and mountaineers. Did we talk about Sturdy Daddy McGee last time?
No, we didn't.
I thought I talked about that. The Raisin Bran commercial from the 80s?
Oh, yes, we did. Yes.
I've never seen and you know what I always thought when I saw the commercial was one day I'm going to see a cereal truck, and I've never seen a cereal truck.
No.
I mean, as far as food trucks go, who wouldn't want a bowl of cereal in the morning?
Well, you know, that actually does make some sense, you know. Food trucks themselves are dying out, though.
They were huge for a while.
Yeah.
First of all, our weather does not allow that. Our climate doesn't say you're going to do food trucks year round.
Yeah, it's not easy.
No. And you go to bigger centers in the States and they'll have food trucks that are going, but you'll have a bagel truck and you'll have this and that. You'll have something for breakfast, something for lunch, something for dinner, and you can just grab something. But I mean, I do like a food truck. I would
I'm
have a
a
food
big
truck
fan.
if I had the
Yeah.
time for a food truck.
Okay,
Like, okay,
what would you do? Pierogies? What would you do?
I had this dream at one time that it was going to be
I have a dream.
Ukrainian kebabs, and it was pierogies, kubasov on a stick, and then
That's
you just take
perfect.
your sour cream and squirt it on there, and
That's perfect.
there you go.
Yeah. Easy,
Cabbage rolls would
easy.
fall apart. Yeah, easy.
Yeah, you can't do cabbage rolls. You have to do things that are easy and quick.
I do think we have a higher Ukrainian population here than they do in the States because pierogies aren't a foreign food here. Like everybody has had a pierogi.
Pierogies. Everyone knows what pierogi. Everyone knows what pierogi is, but do they down in the States? It's questionable.
I think it'd be a specialty thing. Like if they saw a pierogi, it'd be like, oh my god, what is that? It's a pierogi.
Right.
The Tim Hortons robbery is probably in a small town. That would make sense. If I had to pick, you have to pick one of the two bands: Bare Naked Ladies or Tragically Hip. I've seen the Tragically Hip live, and I wish I would have seen the Bare Naked Ladies. How's that?
Yeah, that's fair.
Because the Bare Naked Ladies were incredibly fun, and I like them. They're just a great, fun, easy band to listen to. The Hip I know they're a national treasure, but
they're just Canadian. You got to go see them if you can, right? So
I liked them until I saw them live, because I saw them live during the Day for Night tour, and it was a really dark and whatever. I think they would have been a great small venue band, but not an arena band. And I saw them in an arena,
fair.
And there's just not much of a show there.
You know, I've seen on TikTok more and more of like the classic bands doing big shows, and it just doesn't look good anymore. You know, you get like ACD, they just can't. It isn't as good anymore.
You're so glitchy, dude. Is your Wi-Fi like booched?
I don't know. It seems like my computer works quite good right now.
Are you doing this on your computer, or are you doing this on your phone?
I'm doing my phone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
that's weird.
Like I'm getting solid speed on my internet speed test here. I'm getting 310.
Oh, now you're good. So you did that speed test. Now you're clear again. What is going on? So, okay, Nickelback.
Yeah.
Nickelback or Tragically Hip?
Chat. Oh, I'd go see Nickelback.
Nickelback was a good band.
Yeah.
Why is everybody on Nickelback?
A friend of mine was just telling me she's going to a concert like this weekend in Halifax, and she's going to see Big Wreck, Glorious Sons, and Nickelback. That'd be crazy.
That'd be a good show.
Yeah.
Is Jay on dial-up?
Yeah, I wish. They'd be going faster than this, right?
It's just weird. Like you're usually really, really clear. The only thing we have to worry about is your beard brushing on it. That's okay. We'll keep going. So yeah, Nickelback Nickelback was one of those bands that I remember when Leader of Men came out, and I loved that song, and it was a good rocker. And they do put on an awesome show. And I think the fact that they got very popular, very big, very fast, people started hating on them. Like, why? There's nothing wrong with the band.
Because it was very trendy, right?
Well, they were the first at that time. You had Alanis Morissette was sort of on the way. Her popular spiked, and then it sort of started coming down. Then Nickelback showed up, and then Theory of a Dead Man, and all these bands had the same producer, and they had kind of the same sound. So that might have been what did it. But I would go see Nickelback for sure. Like they're a very true Canadian band.
Absolutely.
I mean, what do we have? BTO Canadian.
Yep.
We had some good ones.
Rush.
That's a band that I could never get into.
I wasn't a huge fan.
The problem with Rush was the first time I heard Rush, I heard Geddy Lee on the Great White North album.
Okay.
When he sang Take Off to the Great White North.
Yep.
And his voice was so high. And he looked kind of alien, like his head was really narrow. And I never got into him. But apparently Neil Peart, their drummer, is absolutely nuts. Like amazing. Well, one of the biggest drum sets you'll ever see.
Yeah. There's the Guess Who.
What was their thing? American Woman?
American Woman. These Eyes.
And that's Burton Cummings, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And that's
who else is Loverboy, and they're over at Classic Rock or Rock in the Fields.
Wasn't Glass Tiger a Canadian band? See, Bryan Adams.
Bryan
Adams, yeah. And he's his class. What do you not like about Bryan Adams?
He's the Canadian Bon Jovi, right?
You're right. But I mean, we have Canadians. I guess, where have you heard bad press about a Canadian besides Justin Bieber, I guess? But Crash Test Dummies. You know what? The
Yeah, Crash
soundtrack
Test
for
Dummies,
Dumb and
yeah.
Dumber.
Classic,
And I
yeah.
love the Crash Test Dummies. The only
Yeah.
bass baritone lead singer that I had ever heard was Crash Test Dummies.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
And if he
Good
couldn't
stuff.
think of a chorus, he just hummed.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Great Big
I would
C.
karaoke that. Great Big C used to come to Brandon like once a year forever. And
Yeah, they were awesome. They were awesome to see.
They were a fun band. And we
Yeah.
do have some gems, but not a lot of negative press on any of our Canadian acts.
No. I mean, there's got to be some. There's got to be some badass guys, right? I can't think of any really.
Drake? No, Drake's a good guy, isn't he?
I don't know. I guess it depends who you ask on that one.
It depends if he was hanging out at Diddy's or not.
I
But you
guess,
got right? But we
Alanis
had
Morissette.
nothing wrong there.
Nope.
And
Well,
have you
unless you're
ever
Ryan
heard-
Reynolds.
What?
Yeah, they were married or engaged, right? So
Really?
yeah.
I know
that
that she was with Dave Coulier for a while,
Yeah, Dave Coulier. Yeah,
which is where You Ought to Know came from.
you
that
ought to
song.
know came from. Yeah.
We had. Can you say anything bad about Michael J. Fox? Nothing.
Michael J. Fox. No. There was
No.
you know what? He was on. He was a funny skit I saw with Curb Your Enthusiasm, right?
Yeah.
And he
He's playing
tosses him a Pepsi, and he opens it, it sprays up, and he's like, "Did you shake this up?" He's like, "Parkinson's."
Parkinson's. He blamed everything on his Parkinson's.
Yeah.
If he can joke about his Parkinson's, and actually, I read his book years ago. It was a memoir called Lucky Man, and it came very slow. It was a pinky. He was at his in-laws, and his pinky was twitching.
Oh,
And
really?
he couldn't quite figure out what that was, and it got worse and worse, and then it sort of turned into, I've got Parkinson's. But the guy's done a lot for Parkinson's research, 100%.
Yeah.
Kim Mitchell, I forgot about Kim Mitchell, Patio Lanterns, and
Patio
because of that
Lanterns, yeah.
song, you pronounce it
Everyone
Patio
had Patio
Lanterns.
Lanterns. Yeah.
You pronounce it like Christopher Walken would pronounce Patio Lanterns. Patio Lanterns.
Yeah. That's fair. That's good. It's good.
The way they sang it in that song.
Who is good? Sum 41.
Are they Canadian?
They're Canadian. Yeah.
And I'm guessing that one of the guys probably dated. Who's the girl that sang? Oh my God, goth chick. She was.
Avril Lavigne.
Yeah, wasn't she?
She
Canadian
dated Chad Kruger, Nickelback. Married to him.
too? Really?
Yeah.
There's an age gap there.
Yeah.
I thought it was the guy from Sum
Well,
41.
no, not really, because she's like in her 40s.
Gordon Lightfoot.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
That guy's old as hell.
Yeah.
Oh, is he still alive? Sorry, I think he's still alive. I remember
I don't know.
I remember the first time I heard the was it the song, the F Scotch? What was that song about the ship? Does anybody know the song about the ship?
No, Gordon Lightfoot died last year. He passed away.
Right, but what was the song about the ship? I remember hearing it when I was a kid at my grandparents' house in Dauphin on the radio, and that song itself scared the shit out of me.
The Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald.
The Edmund Fitzgerald, yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember listening to that song. It was an early morning. My grandfather was going hunting, and I got up because he was getting ready to leave, and that song was on the radio, and it just was eerie as hell. Johnny Horton.
I'm not sure.
Who the hell is Johnny Horton? That Tim's brother?
He's an American musician from California. Battle of New Orleans. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Right.
But he's American.
No kidding. Super play. What did I see here that was still going with the maple syrup thing. Thing is, Canadians, we're good at a couple things. We're good at surviving the cold, bitching about the heat. Like, she was married to both of them? Okay, different times. So it's not that weird.
Well,
The Battle of New
all right.
Orleans. Right. No, I think that we bitch about the cold, we bitch about the heat, yet we're one of the only places on the planet that has a 100 degree differential in temperature.
Yeah, it can be pretty intense, right?
80 degrees. Like, we'll go minus 40, plus 40. We've gone minus 50. We've been the coldest place on the planet, like colder than Antarctica days here and there.
Yeah.
But I do think that we have a limit. I think when you have a if it's minus 20 or minus 30, that's the same to me. And minus 30 and minus 40 is the same to me.
Pretty cold. It's just cold. Doesn't
Yeah,
matter what type cold it is. It's just cold.
Yeah, it's cold. Put your toque on and get out of there.
Yeah.
And
it's funny how it takes a little bit of time to kind of adapt to it, right?
Right, because if it gets to be about 15, 18 degrees, we're out there in a jacket and in a hoodie and jeans.
Yep.
Yet if it's 15 degrees in the summer, you're freezing.
Yeah, that's the craziest thing. Our temperature makes no sense, right?
No, and we have mild on each side, and then we are really in the center of hell for weather here in Manitoba because it's extreme. But our weather doesn't kill us. That's a nice one.
No,
I mean,
well, we're starting to get tornadoes now, which is the interesting thing, right?
Yeah, but not. It's gonna. But I mean, we don't get a lot of that. It's rare to see a tornado rip through that is a super destructive tornado.
Yeah,
right.
Well, that's the thing. But when you were young, how many tornadoes do you remember?
None.
Right?
I don't remember ever having a tornado.
Right?
But we lived in Dauphin.
Yeah, you guys are further north, But even in Brandon, I don't remember tornadoes until there was that one that hit Eli there, right? And then it was like, oh, what the heck is going on here?
And why is everybody scared of driving between Portage and Eli? Can someone explain that one to me?
People are scared of driving between Portage and Eli?
Between Portage and Eli is apparently the worst stretch of road on the Trans-Canada.
Well, it is.
Why?
Yeah.
Why? Because it's wide open?
No, because the lake is directly north.
What lake?
Look at the map.
Is it right north of that?
You take a look at the map. Yeah. Pull one up.
I didn't realize that was a thing because
it is ridiculously close.
Oh, and you're getting the weather off the lake.
Yep. Delta Beach is straight up north almost, right? So you get that wind coming right down across the entire lake, right?
So we got some extremes, but we're in the prairies. But I mean,
how many times have you been driving to Portage or driving to Winnipeg? Okay.
Yeah.
And the roads are fine, right? And then as soon as you get past Portage, on the other side of Portage, it's like, what the hell happened here? This is terrible, right? It just turns into a mess. It's just.
I think it's because it's wide open. There's not a lot of trees there.
There's no trees. There's no tree cover, and then you just get that wind and everything coming off the lake. Like I remember a few times driving in the summer, and you see motorcycles driving like 45 degrees or so, right? Or like just.
I've had to ride on a really serious angle like a couple times, and it sucks because especially when you come up along a semi, and they break the wind for you, so you go from this to this, and then you're back to that, and you almost flip the other way.
Yeah, it's dangerous.
It is, but again, it's Manitoba. It's what do you call us? We're the Kansas of the states.
The Minnesota of the states.
Minnesota states. Yeah. But no, I think Canadians as a whole, we have different laws here. We have different rules here, and we have slightly different things. But for the most part, we're not a whole lot different than people that are an hour below us.
It really isn't that. I mean, there is some cultural differences. I will completely agree. Like, I remember, like, when my wife and I were down at a restaurant down there, and we were looking at the servers running around desserts to everyone, right? And it was brownie and ice cream, okay? And they put them in measuring cups. But the thing is, it wasn't one of those little measuring cups. It was a freaking mixing measuring cup. And I was like, what is that? And they said, that's dessert. I'm like, how many people is that for? They said, for one person. I was like, holy God, it's like 3 pounds of food in that. Like, it's incredible what they do eat.
Well, we can consume a lot of meat, a lot of everything. Like I just had a box of meat from Shawarma Queen because I was hungry.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think it's fantastic. It does taste exactly like a butter tart, and I probably shouldn't be drinking more of this, but it's sweet. It's a lot of sugar, and I'm going to be paying for this on the treadmill tomorrow, 100%.
Why you not bring up camping tomorrow?
Kels has gone with the kids tonight. I have a bunch of work to get done tomorrow morning. I have a bunch of forms to fill out. Wink, wink. A lot of paperwork to do. Just saying.
Yeah.
And I have to get that done too before the weekend's done. So I'm going up tomorrow afternoon at some point in time.
That's good. That's good. It's not like you're far
But-
away either.
I'm half an hour away. If someone needs to go and look at a house or something, I can get back here in half an hour. That's fine. But I do have a lot of stuff to fill
For
out.
work.
For work, for
Yeah.
things, for a thing and
For
stuff.
lots of work stuff. Yeah,
Lots
exactly.
of stuff. Work things. There's things to fill out and papers to do.
That's
Guys,
it.
I want to hear what do you think is a what do you think is a Canadian stereotype that you hate and one that you can 100% live with? Like
Canadian stereotypes, eh?
yeah, like if someone looked at me and said, "Hey, you're like Jay, has anybody ever mistaken you for Canadian?"
You know, there's a funny question actually, because I had a person once, and I'm talking to them, and they're like, "So, where are you from?" Right?
Right.
And like, I know what they're talking about. You know what they're talking about, but sure, not gonna let them know that, right? So I go, well, I guess from Brandon.
Right.
Brandon. And they're like, well, no, that's not what I mean. Like, where are you really from? And I was like, well, I guess I was raised in a small town. And they're like, no, like, like your parents, like, where are they from?
Brandon.
Like, oh, why didn't you say so? They're from the South Fair too. They're like, no, like, where are they from? It's like, oh, well, they live in Brandon, up on the North Hill right now. And this went on and on. And then it was like, oh, do you mean like heritage-wise? Like, yes, like culture and everything, like where your ancestors from. Like, oh, okay, well, my dad's an East Coaster.
I never. Yeah, your sound's going weird, dude. You're getting this blip, blip, blip.
I don't know.
Pull your.
Let me get rid of that.
Oh, better.
Better? Can you hear me now?
100%.
Okay.
Oh, but now you get the echo.
You got an echo?
We are
you sure?
struggling.
Struggle bus
Well,
here,
you
eh?
can hear me. I can hear me talking to you through your mic now.
What the hell? Okay.
Try it again.
There we
Put
go.
your beds in.
Okay,
One button.
give it a try. Bye. Better?
Weird. I am buying you a mic. That's happening. And headphones. Because
I should just get myself this thing better. So frustrating. Very frustrating.
it is. That's okay. It happens rarely. But anyway,
Yeah.
I've never gotten that. But then again, I'm whiter than bird shit. So why would anybody think that I'm something else?
Right? I have no idea, but I don't know why people just think like it's funny. It's funny because people are so surprised that I'm Chinese. It's like, well, what do you think I was?
Being Canadian. You are
What?
You disconnected for a second.
Of course.
Or
I
like your
did,
kids
so.
all are your kids all on the internet right now?
No, my daughter's actually got friends over, or a friend over. They're just bouncing around upstairs. So
Oh really?
it's pretty cute though. I look at my it's because obviously I'm part Chinese, so obviously my kids are part Chinese, and you sure can't tell.
No, your kids are redheads.
Yeah,
Oh, no.
exactly.
Are both of them redhead? No.
The oldest is a redhead. My son, he's got dark hair, but he's white, And then
Right.
my youngest is just like blonde brunette color. So
It's funny how
who's
different
making
kids get
farting
different,
noises there?
right? But when you have a when you have kids, each kid gets something from one, something from the other. Like I get brown in the summer. I might burn, but then I'm brown till like Christmas. Where
Yeah.
Kelsey, because she's Scottish and she has like milky white skin, she burns.
Yeah.
Gage burns. Bo
Yeah.
just goes brown, which is weird. I think they
Yes.
get a little bit for each one of us, but she got that.
No,
And I
go
mean,
all in.
They do go on. But again, in Canada, in the middle of the prairies, we get tropical heat, which makes
Yeah.
zero sense.
We're in a weird ass place. It's kind of wonderful
We are.
that way.
Like
It's
my
not bad.
daughter is she's just like a little sun monster, right? So my oldest girl, she goes into the UV lights, it's like a vampire. She's like, right? But then the youngest one, she goes outside and she'll just get like dark tan, just loves it, just absorbs the sun.
Well, and the thing is, a redhead's gonna burn like a vampire. They're just gonna burst into flames when they get outside. I didn't realize this. Pea meal bacon, that Canadian bacon, which is ham. Can someone just stop saying that it's bacon? It's pork loin. No.
Yeah.
But that stuff that they roll in cornmeal.
Yeah.
I never understood why people like that. And apparently a Donair is from Halifax.
Yes, it is.
But it's
basically a gyro. It's a gyro with a sweet sauce.
Right. And it's good, but it's not a whole lot different. We have a lot of stuff that they don't get anywhere else. Bannock is a thing. Saskatoon is us. Jig's Dinner.
Yeah.
I've had a Jig's Dinner.
Oh, Jig's Dinner. Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Holy Christ. That is salt, like salt.
It's a lot of eating. I made Jig's Dinner once for like a Sunday breakfast once, and people were like, my family was like, "What is this?" I'm like, "It's Jig's Dinner." They were looking at me like, "What the hell are you boiling?"
It's a boiled dinner of salt beef, cabbage, and root vegetables.
Yeah, it was good. It was really good.
Did you ever try to eat that beef just by itself?
Oh, it's pretty tough. Yeah, it's hard to put down.
Well, it's heavy salt. Like
yeah.
But we have stuff that's unique to here. And I remember being up in Yellowknife, and up there they have really unique stuff. That's lots of salmon. Like it's a lot of like salmon jerky up there.
Okay.
And I don't think I could eat that. I'm allergic to fish, but I don't know if I'd eat.
Well, I mean, that's bad.
Right.
Yeah. Honey dill sauce.
That's a Canadian thing?
That's a Winnipeg thing.
Get that. The pizza pop is apparently a Canadian thing too. Winnipeg.
What? Really? That's weird.
Yeah. So we made some stuff, but I don't think we take credit for it. Like we're so nice, but we're like, I believe it was Winnipeg.
Winnipeg is a Slurpee capital of Canada, of the world.
Which makes no sense. We're frozen half the time.
Man, Vico is Manitoba slang for chocolate milk. I've never heard of that.
Vico?
Yeah, Vico. Yeah.
Vico that's what they had in Saskatchewan. It's just called Vico. It's not called chocolate milk. Remember beep?
I've never heard of that.
Did you ever drink beep as a kid?
Oh yeah, all the time. I love that stuff.
Yeah, it's kind of it's like a less shitty Sunny D.
I guess so. Yeah, it was definitely better, but it was like fruit juice without any clear, distinct fruit in it.
It's like someone asked them to make orange juice, but they had never tried orange juice, so they came up with beep.
Yeah,
it's orange.
I have memories of being a kid going into the local co-op and getting beep with my mom, and right beside it, it's the squeezable cheese containers.
The little logs. It was like in the
the logs. Tubes. Yeah.
And you'd cut the star, and you'd have
you squeeze it. Yeah,
bacon cheese and just
it's weird.
Sadly, because I really did like that stuff as a kid. Whenever I go to the States, I buy aerosol cheese.
Oh, nice!
I've got some, and I save that. And it's like I'm getting all fancy, and I'm making little swirls on my Ritz cracker.
Yeah,
but it's not good.
You hold your pinky up when you're doing it too. Right?
I hold my pinky up, and you wash that down with a nice cold Canadian. Yeah. But the pizza pops were invented in Winnipeg, Manitoba, 1964.
That's crazy. I didn't know that.
Paul Ferracci came up with the idea after being unimpressed by a panzerotti he ordered at a restaurant. He thought he could do better, and he did. His creation was a smaller, more snackable version of the Italian turnover filled with pizza ingredients.
God,
I like
a hero. He's a hero.
I'm pretty sure they're all over the world. Like pizza pops aren't just in Canada. I'm pretty sure they sell them in the States.
Yeah, usually they call them. What do they call them? I can't remember what they call them. It's something else.
But what's funny is that they were getting sold across Manitoba, and then the brand was acquired by Pillsbury.
Okay.
And now they're made by General Mills. So it was 1987 is when the pizza pop became a thing. Really?
I remember eating them all the time when I was a kid, but I mean, they were just always there, right?
There was a lot of things that were just always there. I remember getting McCain had these squeezable frozen juice things.
Yeah.
It was like a wedge, but all it was the orange concentrate.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember those. Yeah.
Remember Elvis Stoico used to do the commercials for those.
Did he? That's cool.
I
Good old
remember seeing
Elvis.
Elvis Stoico. And who
With
did
the backflip he did? Was it? No, was it, which one was it? The backflip after the Olympics?
Brian. God, who was our?
It was a battle of the Bryans that did it, wasn't it? Then
was it Brian Botamo?
Maybe.
Do you remember the song? What would Brian Botano do?
Who did that one?
It was a South Park thing.
Oh, wait a minute. Jeez, that's old. That's old.
That's old. What would Brian Botano do?
20 some years.
South There's Park, a lot of things that are 20 years old that doesn't.
Yeah.
Bigger, Longer, Uncut. That movie had more swears in it than it was the first movie to beat The Godfather. No,
really?
Yeah, I think The Godfather for the number of curse words in it. And it was
they got nominated for the Academy Award too, eh?
I think it's great that we see that happening. I'd love to see that with horror movies and sci-fi too, but apparently you have to be crying.
It was rigged because it was the only musical of the year. So that's what you got to do it.
Bigger, Longer, Uncut?
It was the only musical of the year that year, so it was nominated for an Academy Award, and there was no contenders. So
that's ridiculous.
Or not? Yeah,
it was a musical. I guess.
Yeah. Blame Canada.
Blame Canada. I forgot about that song.
Yeah.
And all the Canadians had floppy heads.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Ike was Canadian.
Shield, right?
They put all the Canadians in the front. No. It was the Canadians they put in the front?
There was all the black people they put in the front.
That is correct. So, Operation Human Shield. Jesus Christ.
So it did not win the Academy Award, but it got a nomination in 2000. So that's 25 years ago. That's a quarter century ago.
I remember going to see it.
Would you have ever watched a movie that was 25 years old?
No. Oh, why did my chat didn't refeed, and now I'm seeing everybody talk about Alice Cooper and Biff Naked. But you know when you hear rumors as a kid? Remember someone told me that Biff Naked went to high school in Dauphin, and I believed that for a while.
Well, why?
It doesn't make sense.
But that's the thing. You get when you're a kid and you're told a story like that, you're like, why would somebody lie about it?
Well, we didn't have the internet to check it. I mean, I remember when someone said that Marilyn Manson removed 2 ribs.
Removed his ribs? Yeah.
I don't think that happened.
Yeah. Probably didn't happen. So probably didn't.
Could you do that and function?
Yeah. I don't think you'd really want to, though.
She did? She grew up in Who are you answering to? That Biff Naked went to school in Dauphin? No.
Really?
Get the hell out of here.
I'm checking here. Don't let me down now, Chat GPT.
Okay, you remember hearing that too. Could have been. I mean, crazier things have happened. I don't know if we had anything famous.
She grew up in Winnipeg, Manitoba.
Okay, but she might have been in Dauphin for a bit. That would make sense.
Okay, but she was born in New Delhi, adopted and raised in Canada, in Winnipeg, spent time in Kentucky, Minneapolis, moved to Vancouver.
What was her big song?
Spaceman, one of them.
I Love Myself Today. I think that was one of her songs. Marilyn Manson did that to do something to her. So I'm not sure
if Naked did attend school in Dauphin, Manitoba.
Get the hell out of here.
Yes. She grade 7 to continue education there.
She went to Mackenzie Junior High then.
What the? Yes, that's what it says.
Mackenzie. How old is she?
I'll pull up Wikipedia. She's a 71. So she's 54.
Yeah. Okay, so she's older than me.
So she's not that old.
Gotta love the
Dauphin.
internet.
So it wasn't even an urban legend.
It worked. So we put that one to sleep. Biff Naked did go to school to Mackenzie Junior High in Dauphin, Manitoba.
Did Marilyn Manson remove his ribs?
Okay, as a person who works on bodies, could you function if you like? How would that affect you if you took your 2 lower ribs out?
Well, pretty negatively, that's for sure. Yeah, you got nerve clusters there, you've got muscle attachments.
But you also
just wouldn't be good.
But it connects to the sternum, so you'd have to take part of
Well,
that
the
out.
12th ribs don't. They just go at the back partially, right? So, I mean, you could technically go without them, but when you really wouldn't want to because you're going to get nerve plexes and shit like that, right? So it's going to be
He
kind
was
of an
concerned
issue.
with that, but okay, here's the question. If you remove the 2 bottom ribs, would that
Yeah.
aid in flexibility so you could
No, it wouldn't. It would not
touch your
help.
toes better?
No, it would not help at all. So,
Maryland did not have his ribs removed. The claim that he had his ribs to perform auto was an urban legend, according to multiple online sources. The rumor had been widely circulated, but there's no evidence to support it. Maryland denied it, and the story was considered bizarre. But here's the thing: if the story sounds like it could fit, we will believe it.
Yeah.
Like if you heard that Chris Farley did it, you wouldn't believe that.
no, you'd be like, yeah, that's not going to happen.
That wouldn't help either. And that's a lot of flexibility. I think that's more muscle than bones. But no, I think that as far as the way the world views Canada and the way Canadians view Canada, like, why is it that we bitch so much about being in Canada? Like, it's fine. I can't think of anywhere else I'd rather live.
There's not much else to do, right?
We were born here. What's your excuse? Like, that was wasn't that the Winnipeg sign on The Simpsons?
It was, yeah, on The Simpsons. Again, that was an old one. Simpsons is what, like 35 or how many years is it? 36 years?
And apparently Marge just died.
Yeah, that was it. So the rumor is that Mike Myers was a CIA agent, eh?
Mike Myers was CIA?
Yeah. That's
Get the hell out of here.
Yeah, in the trial, a witness mentioned that Mike Myers had arranged a private tour of CIA headquarters. So now people were assuming that he was part of the CIA, right?
I find that very hard to believe.
And so
then again,
it was a one-off courtesy, not employment or covert collaboration or anything. So Myers was just curious about it. And it was a fan service because of his connections as Austin Powers. But here's
the thing:
here's they're saying he's on CIA.
Stranger things have happened. I mean, how would you know if somebody was a secret agent? You shouldn't.
Well, the only time you'd find out is when they put the pillow over your head with the silencer, right?
Exactly, and that doesn't really silence a weapon very much either.
No,
but
no.
I don't know. I think if you had
going everywhere.
I think Jim Carrey was one of our best. Dan Aykroyd for sure.
Yeah, Dan Aykroyd.
John Candy. Dan Aykroyd was Canadian. John Candy was. I wish we had another 10 years of John Candy.
You ever watched SCTV when you were young?
Absolutely. The Schmengi brothers? Come on.
Yeah. Was it Towering Inferno with the nuclear power plant on top of the skyscraper and stuff?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And SCTV was the precursor for your Saturday Night Live.
Yeah. Yeah. Great stuff too.
Well, Lorne Michaels was part of SCTV. Like, he produced it.
Yeah. Then you had Ed Grimley. You ever see that guy?
Ed Grimley was part of part of SCTV, and that was Martin Short. And then you had we had a few. We had a few of the Canadian shows that it entertained us because that's all we had, right? SCTV was one. Tommy Hunter show. Remember, my grandpa used to tune into that shit all the time. Did you ever watch? Did you ever watch the Tommy Hunter show?
Never.
It was a variety show, sort of it wasn't great. And
as soon as you say variety show, you know it's not going to be very good.
It was all singing, and I'm not quite sure. I don't want to look it up, but I'm probably going to YouTube it later on. The Tommy Hunter show. My grandparents loved that shit, but they only had 3 channels. So you had Whopper was on 7. No, now we have 50,000 things on Netflix, and we can't think of anything. Cool Runnings. True. That was such a good movie.
Yeah, Cool Runnings. Yeah, that was good. Yeah.
I bought that soundtrack. I remember cranking that in my car one time. And so suddenly I felt like I was a Rastafarian, which I was not. But
what was that?
Who's our guy from?
Who was that? There was a great Canadian movie. What's it called? Hold on. I got to dig this one up because I was just talking to a client about it. And it was actually really good with Joshua Jackson. 1 week.
Oh, 2 weeks? 1 week?
1 week.
I had that movie poster back in the day. It was good. What's his name from Tragically Hip was in it for a second too.
Yes, it was. Yeah, and
Yeah.
like it took place like they went right across Canada or a big chunk of Canada, and they stopped at Glenborough, and
Yeah,
that's where
and he
they
went on
shot
board
the
switch.
Stanley Cup. Yeah.
Yeah, he had he had stage 4 cancer, and he
Yeah.
just got on that bike and went for a ride.
It was a great show. You know, there was a lot of cameos and everything in it. I found it by accident just when I was bored looking after a little baby on Netflix.
It's on Netflix. I remember I rented it at
Okay.
a rental place at some point in time when it came out. But no, they have we have movies, we have shows, but you can tell things are very Canadian. I think it's almost the way they shoot it.
Yeah.
Like it's just different. And Tom Jackson, that's the guy. He's the guy. If you need the guy to be that guy, it's him. Tom Jackson's always that guy. Doesn't he come to Brandon every once in a while at Huron Carroll? He used to come and host that.
I don't know. It could be. Strange Brew, of course. Then there was Men with Brooms.
That movie sucks so bad. I remember watching it and
What? That was classic.
oh, come on. They had one to keep their rating down. They were allowed to use the F word once, and he used it just once in a really stupid way. Once.
That's right. Yeah. Okay.
He looks at the sign.
When was it?
Like he looks at a
I don't remember
sign
that.
and he it's the only F bomb that's dropped. You're allowed to do it once in order to keep your rating at a certain spot. And it was just it was placed in the dumbest part. Like, why would you use it there? And it's like they found a spot and they said, go ahead and do it. And he did it and it was dumb. Watch it again.
Leslie Nielsen was great in that one. Leslie Nielsen was great. You know, the stoned
Is he
out grandpa,
Canadian?
right? No.
Isn't Leslie
but he
Nielsen
was in
Canadian?
it. I don't think so.
I think he is. Leslie Nielsen was Canadian. We had
He is Canadian.
Oh my-
Yeah, he is Canadian.
really?
Yeah. And he died a few years ago, 5. Oh, really? He died in 2010? I didn't think it was that long ago.
He never looked young. I'll
Regina,
tell you that. He had white-
Saskatchewan. Never did. Well, you know what? If you ever look at his old stuff when he did some Western stuff, you know, like the guy was like considered a heartthrob back then, eh?
Really?
Yeah,
Apparently,
but like,
Elon
he got Reagan's 50s, right?
Well, apparently, and Elon Musk, apparently his mother's from Regina. He has a relative. There's a Saskatchewan connection to Elon Musk.
Is it really?
You're gonna Google that.
Might as well,
Gene Simmons' wife is from Saskatoon.
Ah, he is from Canada. Yeah, citizenship is Canadian since 1989.
Who?
Elon
Elon?
Musk. He's Canadian.
Sometimes I know things. This is what happens when I pay attention.
Sometimes, Sometimes. I
But I
wonder
think
what he
there's-
was doing there.
Maybe visiting his mother. But apparently there is a prairie connection to Elon Musk.
Crazy.
Now, if he could just start launching stuff here, that would be fantastic.
That'd be good, eh? So here's a movie
Rewatch-
that you may or may not have seen.
Sure.
Bone Cop, Bad Cop.
Oh, Bond Cop.
Yeah.
Bond Cop. I did not watch that because it looked like it was filmed in Quebec.
It was
Apparently
filmed
it's
in
good, though.
Quebec. It's
course
very
it's filmed in
good, yeah.
Here's my problem, and this is not me being judgmental or any kind of ist, but for some reason, if it says Quebec, if there's French in it, I don't want to watch it.
No, that's fair. That's fair. How about here's a movie that we haven't talked about that is Canadian, Trailer Park Boys.
Trailer Park Boys is one of those shows that how the hell did that become a thing?
It's just so
Did you watch it?
I did, yeah. And it was like
People
watching
love
a
that
train
show.
wreck, man. Yeah, it was like, oh my god, this is the dumbest thing ever. And I remember watching it at a friend's house. Ange and I went over to this guy's house and watching it, and she was like, "This is the dumbest fucking show I've ever seen. I'm going to sleep." So she just laid down on the couch, grabbed a blanket, and went to sleep. And we're watching a show, we're laughing, and we turned around and look over at her, and she's laying there with her eyes wide open. And she looks at me, looks at my friend, closes her eyes again, and pretends like it didn't happen.
Here's the thing: it's that easy to watch bullshit. They have a bigger fan base in the States. It's huge down there.
Wow,
But then
that
I
makes
wonder,
sense.
is this where we get some of our stereotypes from? Is it because that's what they're seeing and that's what they think we're like?
They believe it? Well, they got to watch more Letterkenny to get a real good representation, really. Letterkenny, or what's the new one? Shoresy.
Shoresy. Yeah, and Shoresy was my favorite part of Letterkenny because you never saw Shoresy, and he would just chirp at was it Riley and these two hockey kids.
Yeah.
The
F
chirping
you,
is
Riley.
the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just back and forth. It was like, yeah,
And
that's great.
The quick chirping. And I will say this about Canadians. Canadians can chirp each other really, really well. And they can
Yep.
back and forth really, really well. It's not just one, hey, Tony,
Yeah,
fuck you.
F you. No,
It's
F
not that.
you.
Yeah, we're a little more creative and we're a lot more colorful
Yeah.
when we're barking at each
Yep.
other. But Shorzy was great. Letterkenny's good. Trailer Park Boys somehow has a monster following.
Yep.
But I wonder if that's what people think Canada is.
They tour too, right? As a comedy group.
True.
So I mean that really helps perpetuate because they still keep going on, right?
They'll keep going and people will go and watch them do it. Like,
Yeah.
And they're probably doing a Canada Day show. It would make sense if they do. What are you doing for Canada Day? Do you celebrate it really hard? Because I know people are really upset that the weekend is not a Monday.
Are they upset? So they should protest that or something, right?
They should. They protested. Apparently, a protest is what you need whenever you don't like something.
Exactly. We need.
Dude, you're so choppy.
What's happening in Canada Day?
Canada Day is probably. I don't know if there's anything happening in town. Like I know that we're going to. They're having fireworks at the campground on Sunday, so we're going to stick around for that. It's weird because it's outside. It's I find it odd that we find it weird that the first of the month moves every year. Yep. Like if Christmas was on a Wednesday, nobody would care.
No, exactly. But Canada Day, it's like I don't know. I don't get it. People are funny when it comes to that one. Okay, so the Riverbank has stuff, live music all day, featuring the incredibly hip and many other artists. There's the Kid Zone, there's food trucks, fireworks, there's a market.
I think that when
there's going to be buskers there.
And I think when you have because we call it the Canada Day long weekend, like it's not July long if there's no long weekend. So I get that makes sense. Like we never call Christmas the long weekend or New Year's the long weekend. It's just whenever it falls, it falls.
Right.
So yeah, I guess when it's not falling on a long weekend, people get a little weird about it because if you work till like if you're working Sunday or if you're working Saturday, then you're off Sunday, then you're back Monday, then you're off Tuesday.
Yep.
I'm too busy working to protest.
That's quite literally what my schedule is. Like my schedule is literally I work like I've got Saturday, Sunday off, then I work Monday, then I've got Tuesday off, I work Wednesday, then I'm off from Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
I took,
weird.
I barely take time off. I really don't take days off. I don't. And they have a helicopter.
That was fun. That'd be fun.
Pebbles! I would just stand there looking up, saying, "Look, a helicopter."
I wonder if they're doing that again this year.
I would do a helicopter ride.
Yeah, I've actually never been in a helicopter.
You should go in a helicopter. Just get in there, put your earbuds in, and listen to "Fortunate Son" while we fly over everybody.
Damn straight, yeah. send you my son's video that he did. He was when he was out in Halifax.
Why? What happened?
Because he's in the military. They asked for volunteers, and obviously nobody ever puts their hands up, right? So my son put his hand up. And he said, "I'll do it, Sergeant." And they said, "Okay, you're going for a ride in a helicopter today." So they threw him in one of the was it the Cheyenne helicopters?
Is that what sure, you can call it whatever you want,
or something like that. I can't remember. Chinook. Yeah, could be. And they just basically strapped him in, had his legs dangling off the edge, and they flew around, buzzed Peggy's Cove and everything, and so he recorded it all and put it up on TikTok.
I've never been in a helicopter. $50 a person, and Zumba did it. You know what? For $50. If I had never done it before, I'd spend $50 to go on a helicopter ride. I spent $50 on dumber stuff, like that.
Absolutely,
that gin from last weekend, which wasn't bad. But I spent $50 on dumber.
Did you drink all of that?
No, God, no. Are you kidding me? No,
that's pretty good. Brave for you.
No. I'm a couple drinks during a live stream. That's it until I'm camping. But I am going to take Sunday, Monday off, and I have had the most exhausting week, dude. When what I did on Thursday had to happen, I walked away and I felt like I was going to throw up.
That's good.
Like I was like, oh God.
So when does that all come to a conclusion?
It'll come to a conclusion when it comes to a conclusion. As of right now,
When
all
it's
I know
done.
is that I'm one step forward again.
That's
So
crazy.
haven't slipped back.
Like I said, they could make a TV show out of that.
You'd think that that'd be not a bad idea for something like that. I mean, I'm surprised no one's done that yet for 7 or 8 seasons.
Yeah,
Hey,
probably 7 or 8
so-
seasons. Easy.
So Canada Day, who's got the plans? I'm going to be camping. I'm actually taking a couple days off, and I'm going to do exactly that. Just camp and sit by a fire, read a book, and probably have a cocktail.
Yep.
The lines are
Or
crazy
9.
for the helicopter rides. Really?
I don't see any helicopter rides this time. There's nothing being said about it online. I'm looking for it.
Zumba, I'll DM you one of these times and let you know what's going on here. It's more of an explanation than a thing, but it's nothing until it's something. And that's all I can say. It's nothing until it's something, but I'm getting closer to it being a something.
Yeah, and when it turns into something, then you'll be able to start having fun.
Then I'll say something. But until then, I just have to say it's closer
Remember
to
to
something.
tag some important people into this when it happens.
I've been vlogging, and my phone is full of videos of me saying, "Holy shit, this just happened! Oh my god, this just happened!" But
That's
until
good.
it's something, it's nothing. And until then, I just keep on working. I don't think they have the helicopter rides. God, I would stick around
No.
for a helicopter ride. I've never been on one, and I think that it's loud as all hell. But
yeah,
why not? People.
When I was in Air Cadets, we went to camp in Cold Lake.
Yep.
And they nominated or they picked certain cadets who were like the top cadets, right?
Right.
So that was not me. That was obviously not me, right? But historically, my year they changed, so they took you for a ride in a helicopter. But before that, the top cadets all went for rides in CF-18s.
What's that? Jet? Plane?
Yeah, the fighter jets, the Canadian fighter jets.
Get the hell out of here.
I'm serious. So they give you a barf bag and they just try to make you puke. So you got these like 15, 16-year-old guys and girls riding in the back like Tom Cruise in CF-18s. They take you up and they're just doing the crazy stuff, right?
I would do that.
It was like the big thing, right? So
they'd have to give me about 4 barf bags and one for the rear end, because if I don't puke, I'm gonna shit myself in that thing. But no, thanks, Pebbles. I appreciate that. No, I think that it's as long as there's something going on and people get outside and it's not raining, I think get out there and enjoy Canada Day. I think that we have sort of gotten away from what's the word? Appreciating the fact that we actually live in a pretty decent spot. We could be in worse places, guys, and Canada's not that bad.
Places. Yeah,
I can't.
Worse places.
I don't think that there's a place I'd rather live. Like I visit the States, and the States are fantastic, but I don't think I'd want to live down there unless I'd have to have a really good reason to go down there. Like, I'm comfortable. It's easy to live here. People forget that.
The only thing I would say is, yeah, it's not that bad, but it could always be a little bit better, couldn't it?
You could say that on every place in the planet, and every household could
Damn
say
straight.
this could be better. And
Absolutely.
here's the thing.
And I believe that too.
We can make it better. Here's the thing. If I don't like this area of my life, I can change something about another area of my life, and this area gets better. Like, we're not that static. We can. Oh, did I lose you?
No, hold on. I'm still here.
Oh, you're doing the thing. You're good.
I
think that if
lost
you
my sound.
You know what I would do is I'd turn the volume right off on your phone and use your phone, because then you won't hear me talking.
I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah, that would
But
work.
then I can't. Yeah, but then I can't hear you at all.
Right. Never mind. That wouldn't work. No. I think that I think that Canada's pretty good. We have some good stuff here. People are envious of this country, and they should be. And not because we're boisterous, but because, guys, it's relatively safe. The weather doesn't kill you. And although they can say it's expensive, everywhere is expensive. Nowhere's cheap. If you want to live where it's cheap, you're going to live where there's also nothing there.
Yep.
Like,
well, you have to look at how many people want to come into Canada, which is it's crazy. So in the first quarter, there were 100,000 immigrants that came into Canada.
Yeah.
That's
That's
a
a lot.
lot of people. That's a lot of
Right.
people that want to get out from. So the target for temporary residents is 673,000 for students and temporary foreign workers. Meanwhile, the target is about 395,000, which is
Right,
a lot.
but
But-
part of the reason for that is because as the generations get to being parental age, they're not having kids, so they're replacing the workforce that isn't being born.
Unfortunately, we also run into the problem, as you know, when your job housing turns into a real big mess too.
It does, and it can be a real bastard when you have too many people and not enough houses. And this is why you're seeing a lot more condos getting built in apartment blocks, because that's the only way you're going to do it. And this is how the small towns and smaller cities turn into big cities real quick with a bunch of people, which also means more people bring more business brings more people, and it does help a city grow. There's no doubt.
Yeah.
And
But the problem
Canada
also is, how does a city maintain it at times too, right? Like,
so that in lies the problem. You've got more people with the services for so many people. So how do you maintain that? You've got less like between you're talking about plumbing and fire departments and stuff, or what?
just like everything, even just infrastructure, even.
You can't. And our infrastructure is old and it's dilapidated, so they need to do a real revamp on it. But hey, we will get there, and people want to be here because it's an awesome place to live. And I think that we should be happy that we're here, and that we're not in the crosshairs of anybody. How about that?
Yeah,
that's kind of nice.
Not yet. Now that Trump has settled down a little bit, eh?
We've still got friends.
Yeah.
And I think that when we have, what's this? You're seeing a lot more. Lots of houses are getting built I'm seeing a lot of houses that are being renovated to have a basement suite. In lots of the major centers like Vancouver, Toronto, the only way you're going to own a house is if you rent out the basement. So that's, I think, part of the reason that's becoming more common, because you're paying 1.2 mil for a 850 square foot house. So they're putting a basement suite in, and they're renting that sucker out for quite a bit of money. No, I think that we have it fairly good. If we would just stop blowing our money, we'd be okay. And people say, well, I don't have money to blow. Yeah, well, you know what? Tim Hortons isn't free, and neither is Starbucks, and you're still drinking that every day. So come on.
Well,
you can always cut back on something.
That's the thing. But people are dopamine seeking. You know, they're hunting down some things. Everyone feels they're too busy. They've got too much, you know, when in reality, they're just heavily distracted away from the things that are more important, right? So
they feel like they're too busy to.
Yeah.
Right now,
like I put a statement up on social media today saying it's being busy is not a flex, and I think it's very true, because nowadays you talk to people and how's your day? Oh, it's so busy. It's so busy. It's like, okay, but has it been productive? Have you done anything meaningful? Have you contributed to a better life? Or are you just being distracted and calling yourself busy, right?
Absolutely. When someone says they're busy, like, what did you do all day? Because I mean, if I say that I'm busy, and you know how I'm running, if I'm busy, I'm busy. If I'm not, I'm not. But like I said, this week was particularly exhausting, and I have been slammed by every part of my life, and I'm ready for a couple days to chill the hell out. So I'm going to. And I think that everybody should do that. Everybody try and relax this weekend. Try to enjoy the outdoors. Try to do something that's just for you, and eat some bacon, drink some beer, have some poutine.
Times. That's
get your toque out.
Yep.
But I think we're gonna, But let's do that, guys. Let's say have a fantastic weekend, and we'll get at it.
A good beverage, a nice Canadian beverage.
Have a beverage. I am going to call it a night as well. I think it's time, and I do have lots and lots of forms to fill out, so I need to get some work done before I go to bed, guys. But hey, It was good. Try to enjoy the weekend, enjoy the weather, and hang out with some buddies and crack a Molson. Why not? Grab a Mickey.
Exactly.
Okay, guys.
Good stuff. Have a good night,
Have a great
everyone.
weekend. We're out. See you guys.